guys, and welcome back to the podcast. I am so excited. We're in episode 20, which is mind-blowing because we didn't think we'd ever get to episode 20. But like I said in my story yesterday, if you've seen it, it coincides with having an amazing guest on. She's mortified, but I'm so buzzing to have her on. Yeah, so like I said yesterday as well, if you live under a rock and you don't know who this is Ali Crawford, who is the only Scottish athlete to qualify and win gold at the CrossFit Games.
There has been a girl that's qualified as an elite since me, though.
Really?
Yes.
What a bitch. We still support Ali, no?
So I am still the one that's podiumed, I suppose. But yeah, we have... we've got loads of great CrossFit females now in Scotland, yeah.
I think that's amazing, mostly because, do you know what's so funny? Me and Lou always talk about CrossFit, but we've never done it.
Because we were talking about it. We had Taylor on the podcast and she was like, have you ever done CrossFit? And I just fucking burst out laughing.
It was like a wee tumbleweed, the two of us were like...
Have I ever done CrossFit? But obsessed with the
films. It was see the films. That's utterly obsessed with the CrossFit documentaries.
Yeah, I love it. I basically wanted to get you on to know if you met Claire Toomey, what she was like.
Yeah.
Well, I'm like a master. We're like the down, like we're not, well, do you know, that's a lie. So I didn't start CrossFit until one opened in East Kilbride, CrossFit East Kilbride, which was in 2013. So prior to that, I basically just trained the way, probably similar to how you guys train now. Yeah. I did enjoy lifting weights. Didn't lift weights all the time because I always quite enjoyed the kind of intensity side of things. So like for me, I know you can't do that all the time, but like I quite enjoyed body pump because it was like lifting weights, it was like muscular endurance and all that. And it was really like, it was hard. But I did enjoy like free weights area, resistance machines and stuff. I love going to the gym. And then I guess when CrossFit East Kilbride opened, it was just an opportunity to try something new, really. Yeah. Didn't really know much. I didn't actually know that much about CrossFit at the time. I knew a little bit, but I mean, it was quite big then, probably more so in America. I would say that potentially it was like in the early days of kind of getting big in the UK. So yeah, I joined up and it just totally changed my training philosophy, if you like. I just loved everything about it. I loved the fact that I was learning new skills. I loved the fact that one day I would go and it would be like endurance based. The next day I would go and it'd be like real strength bias. The next day I would go and it would be a skill that I'd never tried before. So I didn't start till I was 38. So for me at that age to be in an environment where it was like really... like it didn't matter. Age wasn't really a barrier. Every day was like kind of learning new stuff. And like I say, it was quite new in the UK at that stage, so there wasn't loads and loads of gyms. So to be honest, my coaches were probably still figuring it out a little bit. So yeah, it's I did think that when I was driving down here, because I know like I follow you guys on Instagram and I know like what you guys are all about and what you enjoy in the fitness space, and it's quite different from CrossFit. Oh my God, I think you're solid if you do CrossFit.
CrossFit to me is like an elite level of
oh my God,
because obviously they're called the fittest in the world for a reason, aren't they? Like but it's interesting. How did you find, so if you were more into bodybuilding, I'd assume style training before that, or like maybe not bodybuilding, but just like lifting weights? I just
loved fitness, to be honest, Louise. I just loved doing anything, and I didn't ever have a purely aesthetic goal. Like I think I did sport my whole life, right the way through like my late teens, like my early 20s. I was still trying, like in a leotard, trying to do gymnastics at 23 kind of thing. Like, I just did sport my whole life. And then when I started going to the gym, it probably was more so like your body pumps, your body combat, your body step circuits.
That's how I remember
all that kind of thing. Yeah. I just enjoyed that. And then I got into teaching that. But I did enjoy lifting weights and stuff like that. But I never like followed a proper program for any real length of time. I always kind of got quite good aesthetic results from really having to think about it or try too hard. So I guess when CrossFit, like you say, CrossFit's like a kind of elite sport. I think that's a dead common misconception. And I think obviously me being here as a 49-year-old being like, oh yeah, I compete still. I am one of the people that do take it a bit more seriously. But like you guys could come to my gym tomorrow. And
I always think of it more from like my mobility is shocking, and I think like I can't squat out a heel wedge, so how the fuck am I getting under a bar? Yeah. Like I just like I did a little bit with one of the guys when I worked in JD, not CrossFit, but just like front squat, like more like front squat, and I was like, this is so hard.
Yeah.
I feel like that's really difficult. So I've always like teetered on the edge of being like, should I try it? Because I always like trying something different. And then I think the effort I'd need to go to just to get good mobility would do my brain in.
Yeah. I think that's a fair comment, to be fair. I think the reason why I probably had quite a lot of success in the early days was I've always quite good mobility.
Yeah, so
like I never struggled like with an overhead position or a squat position or squat depth and stuff like that. There are loads of people in my gym that do struggle with squat depth or overhead mobility, but CrossFit is infinitely scalable, and as long as you kind of check your ego at the door, then like the coach is there to like if you can't hit depth in a squat, to give you options. If you can't like snatch a bar to an overhead position, to give you options. So it is like totally scalable. And like I say, if you guys came to a class with me tomorrow, we would have the same workout, but we might have different scaling options. I might scale up, like do a little bit harder movement. You might do a little bit easier movement. Not saying it's easier, but it's like everybody does the same workout. I've mostly do classes now, and there's all different levels of experience, levels of how much people want to put into the workout. Like you know this yourself. Like a lot of time, it's how much you want to actually put into it is what you'll get out. And
I like the thought of that side of things, because I do like pushing myself, but it does pure terrify.
Just starting out and into it a bit.
We should all do it. We'll get, because Ross keeps saying as well, so hubby Ross says, I really want to get into some functional stuff, right? But
Ross is kind of get his arms to you.
So your sister, Ross goes to your sister, right? And she's like to him, Ross, I just want you to lie down on the floor and just let your hands like flap on the floor. And he's like this, and she's like, what are you doing, Ross? And he's like, that's that. And she's going, no. He's like, I can't even get my hands to the floor. So that's his mobility.
She loves all the my sister loves all the functional stuff and the movement stuff, and just like, I think it is good for your body. And I think if you like, not like obviously resistance machines and stuff like that, I'm not saying they don't have a place, they absolutely do. And I do sometimes use them as well. I think they're great for people that are starting off, people that do have poor mobility, people that they're a lot safer to have someone like do a leg press than squat with a barbell on their back. So they absolutely have their place, but they do, like, if you're moving like with a barbell and like more kind of functionally, I do think that you're in different planes a bit more. I don't know. It's just
I 100% agree. I think like there's a place for all of it. I think that whole argument of like what's better, a machine or a barbell. It's like, well, there's none are better. Like they all have their own place. I suppose if you only ever do machines, then you're probably going to be super limited at some point
and end up super tight. I mean, a lot. Like, if you're like doing like a chest press machine constantly and stuff like that, and not mobilizing. But I think for me, like with fitness, like, I like it all. Like I'll do the resistance machines, I'll do CrossFit, I'm trying paddle. Like I just love doing new stuff and trying. I do a lot of stretching. I'm probably not as mobile as I used to be, and I think that is probably because since joining CrossFit, I definitely lift heavier than I did before, and that does make you tighter. And I'm not doing as many stretch classes or yoga style classes. So I'm also older, so definitely I'm feeling it a little bit in my joints now that I'm a little bit tighter than before. But I just like to try everything. To me, I've got quite an open mind about it all. I mean, the fitness scene does crack me up a little bit though, just in the sense that we've kind of moved on. Like, what was it I was reading the other day? It was like, so we moved on from just training. People would just go to the gym to train. And then it was like, no, we're all functional training. We're all going to functional. And the latest one I've seen is this, we offer performance training. I'm like, guys,
we'll just train.
I'll just go and enjoy yourself in the gym.
I think it's pretty much hitting the nail on the head, isn't it?
I think everybody's trying to find like a niche in the market now, like a thing. Like you can't just be a coach. You have to be doing something like this thing that folk are like, oh, like shiny, and you're like, just training in it. We're all just training.
100%. It's good if it just gets people moving though, innit?
I think we should just sit and do a podcast purely on your take on like social media influencers.
I've got a lot of thoughts about it. Do you know what it is? I think social media is great, and at the end of the day, it's a fantastic marketing tool, but I think it's easy to get lost in it a little bit. It's a bit like I don't know, how can I explain it? There are people that are really shiny and glossy and slick online that I know of, and I know. And I know that the reality doesn't fit the online persona. And that must be quite frustrating for people that are less confident online or less switched on online, because it's like, well, that is the way you're gathering like followers and clients, I guess, now. I mean, the days of like working a gym floor and having a wee board up in the sides, like with your qualifications and your experience are kind of over. So it is the way people are selling themselves now. But the thing that grinds my gears, I think, is that everybody comes like with this voice of authority, and it's like sometimes like I'm always mindful when I'm giving my opinion. It's just my opinion. Like I'm not an expert. Like I've done my level 3 PT and I've got a lot of experience in the industry, but I'm very much open to the fact that somebody has different things that they like, different like circumstances, and I just think sometimes it's so polarized and it's so like people are so as if they know. And I think as someone who has walked the walk, not just talked the talk, it can get dead frustrating at times. Everybody's an expert, and let's be honest, I also know people that have dressed themselves up online, and if you didn't know the person, you would think they were world champions at XYZ because they're just great at selling themselves.
I know.
And like, I suppose if you didn't know any better, you might be inspired by that person, you might be motivated by that person, you might want to work with that person. But I suppose when you're in the industry and you know a lot of it that's going on, it's just, it can be a bit soul destroying, just like, oh, here we go again.
I think there's a certain, it's almost like a generation thing. Do you know how we were, also my generation was, I think, the last generation to ever play outside and not be like tied to, because I grew up just as the internet came about. So like we still like went outside, but like the internet was kind of there. So you kind of went on it, but you kind of didn't. And
the dial-up.
Yeah, I had the dial-up,
Before your mum picks up the phone and she's like, get off the internet.
I think we're of that generation in fitness and trainers and coaches in this aspect of we know what it's like that you have to, we've all walked gym floors for hours and basically been like, if you're going to be a coach, you're there on the gym floor from like 8 till 8 and you just walk about like, and that, and you speak to people weirdly, and that's how you like you put
earn
weights
minimum
back.
Wage. It's like earn your
and
craft.
you just walk about and say hello to people, which is a bizarre concept of walking around. I like, but we also are on social media, so we've got the best of both worlds. I think a lot of coaches coming up now don't understand this, but they don't think they have to walk a gym floor. Or like, you know, like me be on it. It's more just like, but I'm online, I've got a presence. It's like, but a lot of it just, then they come to coach people and they've got shite human interaction.
Of course.
And like, you need, the whole job is speaking to people, isn't it? Like, really?
Well, the whole thing that's been pushed now is online coaching as well, because it's like you can have 5 online clients and earn 5 times what you'd earn in a one-to-one, because yes, you can say it's personalised to a certain extent, but like, just if you look at somebody, if you've got 40 online clients, unless you're doing 120 hours a week. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of copying and pasting going on. There's a lot of synergies happening, but it's not like, it's not the worst. A lot of people have like the same requirements and the same goals and stuff like that. But it's I think that maybe it is like just being a grumpy old lady, but I feel as though people qualify 1 minute and then the next minute are experts.
Either influencers. But it's pretty much what you said. What they're not doing is, it should be person specific. Do you know what I mean? It should be like what you said, it's not cookie cutter, like that's a human being with their own issues and injuries and food, whatever. And it's
lifestyle
about
as well. It's like, there's no two people that have like the same schedules or opportunities to train or money to buy the good food and stuff. Like, there's so many things you need to take into account, but there's not, it's a bit like when I was saying earlier on, I don't know whether it was on air or off air, like I kind of gave up teaching classes in a gym floor, in a gym studio, because I think when I started teaching in, I don't know, it would have been probably about 2000 or 2001, 25 years ago. I can't remember the exact, I say I was on £18 an hour or something. So at that time it was pretty good money. Here we are like 25 years later and the hourly rate's about the same. I mean, I think it's maybe up to 20 in some places.
Really?
So then you're like, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's just not financially viable when you can make double that as a PT. And also it's a lot easier coaching somebody through movements and telling them what to do and helping them with stuff than it is giving it full welly in a spin class, you're not shattered after it. So I think you kind of, like for me, like I moved away from the kind of group fitness exercise instructor to the PT. And I think there's a further shift now where people are like, oh, I can get clients online and I don't actually even have to leave my house.
Yeah, that's exactly
somebody
it.
for an hour, and they can take on more clients and stuff like that. So there's definitely has been this kind of continue shift. Where is it next? Is it?
That's it.
Yeah,
I was going to say
an AI coach. I don't know.
I know.
But I think for me, I like, I'm a people person. Like I like the people. Like I love, part of what I love about CrossFit is the classes and training with people and being around people. And that's why I love teaching classes as well. So I'm not a huge fan of the going to gym with my headphones in and like a program and
you like the more community.
Do you know what I mean? I just, on my own, I'm not, I just don't get me wrong, I do it.
Yeah.
Like if I see results, eventually I like it and stuff like that. But definitely more.
You're more the buzz of the crowd. Yeah. How did you find training for the games and working and all that? Like how often a day were you training?
How did it even come about you were going to do the games first of all?
Let's move on, actually. We've got loads of questions about all that.
Like I said, I was 38 when I started. At that point, the Masters category started.
You didn't even start CrossFit till you were 38. Mm-hmm. Right, okay.
And
listen to that. Listen to you.
38 when I started. Yeah. So I do remember but I'd done like body pump and stuff. I'd never lifted super heavy weights. I'd never learned like Olympic weightlifting. But I remember, I think it was my first class and we were doing back squats or something like that. And a girl that I was working with had bailed she'd kind of had to bail out of a back squat, a barbell back squat, and there was 55 kilograms in the bar. And I just was like that. So I just cleaned it up, just like not even thinking about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, the bar's on the floor, like pretty sure this is how I'd get the bar from body pump on my shoulders. So I kind of cleaned it up and I put it in the rack. And I remember the coach Ali come up and he's like, did you just clean that up? And I was like, And he was like, okay, you don't realise that now, but that's actually quite good considering it's like your second class. So I had quite a good strength base going into it, a good gymnastics base going into it, a good fitness base. I had all the kind of base kind of stuff.
Ali's always been like that. Like, I just want to say, I've known Ali, right? So when I first started in fitness I was 19, and see my first impression of Ali, I'm not just saying this, I remember going, I've never seen anybody that looks like that. Like,
in a good way.
See, like, she had a six pack. She was like, when she walked in, the whole gym was like, and I swear to God, you're pretty much what I'd imagine if the Avengers were real people. She'd be like,
Captain America.
You're literally like an Avenger. It's quite scary. But that was my impression of Ali the whole time. I always remember
Thank
them
you
like,
very much.
People don't look like this.
Do you know, my sister looks pretty much identical. I think there's a big bit of genetics going on for us. Like, but I don't know where from. Like, my mum was never overly into fitness. My dad played professional football, but like, he was of the generation that whilst he was a professional footballer, he was smoking cigars and getting pissed every weekend. So he wasn't the athlete as such. I suppose we'd get into gymnastics when we were young, and then we both quite liked just fitness and sports, I suppose.
Yeah, because your sister done Cirque du Soleil and stuff like that. How crazy is that?
But then it's genetics. They definitely help, but there's also 35 years of discipline and training.
Absolutely.
So
you could tell that looking at you a mile. Like, you're built for CrossFit, that's why.
But do you know what? See, when I line up, there's all shapes and sizes in CrossFit. It's quite a CrossFit competition can be quite humbling because I know I look fairly fit. And I'll line up and I'll probably look, if I line up with 20 ladies my age, I'll probably look like one of the fittest, and then I could get smashed.
Yeah. Is that
for nothing. That's part of what I like about it. It genuinely does not really count for much.
I love that.
Right, take us back. So
I started in CrossFit. So then when I turned, so I'd been doing it 2 years and I did really well in the open when I was 40, and it was my coach Si at the time had said to me, do you know, if you actually like because I was just in classes, and he's like, if you put a bit of kind of structure in place, you might be able to qualify for the games as a master. So that was in 2016. So in 2017, I went all in. I was like, right, like I was training a lot. I started following a personalised program. I was doing all weakness work, as they call it in CrossFit. Because the thing about CrossFit is you can't have any major weaknesses. Do you know what I mean? There's no point in coming first in one event and last in another. It's better to his. So I did a lot of work in my weaknesses. I put in a lot of extra work, like extra time. And that year it was the top 20 in the world that went to the games, and I finished 21st.
Oh,
no. And I was so gutted. I was honestly like, nah. Like, because I had been a lot of sacrifice. Like it has been a lot of sacrifice. Do you know what I mean? And then what happens is because it's a worldwide leaderboard and it gets released. So like, do you know what I mean? I woke up in the middle of the night, like to check the leaderboard. And I'm like, and at that point though, I think I was 19th, but I'm a wee bit of a geek as well. So I knew all the ladies in my category. Right. I'd kind of done a bit of deep diving into their previous scores and all that. So I knew there was like 2 names that weren't on, that hadn't had their scores like verified yet. And I remember texting my coach and I was like, I'm going to end up 21st here. And sure as fate it did. So I was a bit so disheartened. I was like, nah, that's it. Yeah. And then just continued training again though, but I think I'd kind of changed more. I was like less doing the classes and more doing a bit more kind of competitive style programming, making sure I was getting my Olympic weightlifting done. Like I was squatting once or twice a week. I was doing all my kind of skill work. And then what happened was I did fairly well in the 2018 Open again, but I didn't really have a massive goal that year. I was like, yeah, I've done all right. So did the kind of quarterfinal stage. And then when the semi-final workouts came out, my coach phoned me and he's like, these are literally like, it's almost like you've programmed them for yourself, because it was all the stuff that I'm good at and that I enjoy. And I ended up qualifying that year. So it was quite ironic that 2017, I was like right into it, not drinking, like had my nutritional point and everything, and I didn't make it. And then the next year it wasn't even on the radar, and I did. And then I genuinely think that, see, when you taste, you get a little bit of success, it just builds confidence. So then I did have imposter syndrome in 2018, I would say, because it was like, it's all Americans mostly at my age, because it was fairly like new over this kind of Europe and Australia. So it was like, I think it was 20 ladies and I think 17 of them were Americans. And I was a bit like, what the hell am I doing here? Of course. And I did all right, finished 14th or something. And then, I think lockdown happened, and then I moved up to the next age category. And like I said before, I'm a bit of a geek. Yeah. So I knew what I was capable of. My training had been going really, really well. And it was, I was like, I'll get back this year. Like I knew I was good enough to get back. And rather than like not being sure, I was like, I'm going to qualify for the games this year. Love that. But deep down, I was like, I think I can probably podium, but I didn't ever want to say that out loud. You just manifested it. I kind of believe in that. Like I totally believe in that. I don't really believe in manifestation.
I believe in like just being sure of yourself. Like,
see, I think thoughts can become things.
It's like manifest, but do the work. But I was scared to say that I could podium just because I also am I do it for me and I'm quite confident stuff, but I'm a wee bit of a people pleaser as well. I didn't really want to put too much pressure on myself and to then I would feel, see if I couldn't be one of these people. It's like, I'm going to the games. my goal is to win it. Yeah. And then come 10th and it's like, sorry. I'm full of shit. So I'm not really that kind of person, but deep down I was like, I could probably podium here. And then when I went to the games in 2021, I was, what would I have been then? 45. So that was my first year in the category. And so I knew I was like the youngest in that category. And see what you're saying, like, I'm like, I must be fitter than these. They're like old women compared to me. Like, although I'm 45, I function like a 35. I was having all these thoughts, like positivity. And the WODs were actually really good for me over the games. It was in Madison, Wisconsin, and they were great. And I made a mistake that basically cost me first place. And you're joking. I ended up coming second that year, but I kind of played for second. So going into the final, I'd done the maths about it all. And I knew if I went for it, I'd had a good chance of winning. But if I also went for it, I had a good chance of redlining and fucking dying. And then, so I was basically I think I was sitting in second place. And I knew if I just played it safe, did well, finished second in the actual final event, I would be secured second. But I think if I'd gone for it, the people that were around about me, I could either came first or fourth. And at that point, I was like, I want second. It was that mindset. I was like, I just want I want a medal at the CrossFit Games. I want second. Got second, was obviously great. And then I was like, I'm going to try and win it next year. So in 2022, I went to try and win it. And to be fair, the WODs probably weren't quite as good for me that year, but I just had this real I felt as though I could. 100%. I totally had fire in my belly. And you need that. I think everyone needs that. Like you need to have that mindset of, no, I can do this to really, really do it.
What was your training like? Were you training like every day? Were you training like 5 days,
I would say See, to be honest, I'm a bit scunnered with it. It kind of scunnered me a wee bit. I do look at these young ones and I'm like, you're going to get fed up with this. I think probably I trained really hard from about 2018 when I qualified for Games 2018 right up to like 2022. So I had 4 years where I was really into my training. Yeah. The year that I was trying to win it, I was probably training a lot of double days, maybe 3 double days a day. So I'd get up in the morning, do my kind of metabolic condition stuff in the morning. And then like in the afternoon, I would do my kind of skill work and weightlifting. It was a lot of structure to it. But yeah, CrossFit's a hard thing because like I can be at the gym for 2 hours and do like an 11-minute workout. It's just one of them. Like I was there last week and I did like time I warm up and then do my kind of skill session. So it's normally kind of EMON type thing. Like so every minute on the minute. So that was like maybe say 15 minutes and then warm up for my weightlifting and do that. And then warm up for the conditioning piece. So you can be at the house for 2 hours, but actually I've done like 10 snatches and an 11-minute workout. So it does take quite a lot of time at that level because there's so much to it. So there's so many bases to cover. So you can't just get strong, can't just get fit. You've got to keep on top of everything. So like in 2022, I was training quite a lot. I was training hard and I was training really well. But see, when you're in it, you don't actually realise. So because I loved training and I loved it and I knew I was getting better and stuff like that. And I had the goal of the games. I had the goal to try and win it. So it didn't feel like a hardship. It wasn't like, oh, here we go again. Like there was nothing like, I was just great and I was doing it and whatever. But see now when I look back, like I actually watched like an old YouTube video of like one of the qualifications that I did for the 2022 games. And I'm like that. How the hell did I do that? Like, see, when I like at the time, I'm like that. So basically, without wanting to bore the pants off you, it was like a snatch workout. So you had to like snatch 10 at a certain weight and then rest a minute and then it get heavier. So there was 3 barbells, but it was quite heavy. It was like 45, 55, 65. And then you had a rest minute and I think the whole workout was 10 minutes. So whatever time was left, you to get max snatches at 75 kilograms, which for me at that time was very close to my max. And obviously you're fatigued because you've done all the other barbells up to it. And I watched the video back and I'm like, holy, like I missed my first one at 75 and then my coach just talked to me about like a wee change in technique. And I went on to hit 5 snatches in like a minute at 75 kilogram. I mean, I couldn't even dream of doing that now. But at the time, it was just like, oh, cool, I got 5. Do you know what I mean? But see, now I'm like that. I was bloody amazing.
I don't even think I could squat 75 kilos.
If I was to like clean it, I would struggle to clean and jerk that at the moment. And I'm like, it's only 4 years ago. But like I said, you're just in it. And
there must be a lot of surely like in hindsight, and now that you've done the games multiple times as well, like there must be a lot of knowing that on the day adrenaline is going to obviously take over. Because now if you're training for something and then thinking, how the fuck am I going to do better than that? Like I'm already dying. Yep. But then there must be like, this is not the same, but I had a client do a High Rocks and she was like, I'm struggling like with this training. Like, how am I going to do it on a day? And I was like, because you'll have adrenaline. Like, surely that must like,
it definitely does. Like,
elevate so much more of your.
And I think there's people like I do tend to I compete well.
Yeah, like under.
I think there's people that do the opposite. I think there's loads of people like that.
If everybody was watching me, I'd go.
There's lots of people that are great in training, but then make mistakes or just the nerves get the better of them or whatever. But I do seem to compete quite well. I normally manage to raise my game in a competition.
And for folk that aren't that familiar with CrossFit, like you don't actually know what you're going to be doing, don't you know? Which is mental. I know, when did they release the thing?
It varies competition to competition, but like at the games and stuff, normally like we would have like a meeting or whatever, a gathering the night before, and they would release the workouts the next day.
Which is because I always remember watching the documentaries, and then everybody's always like, "Fuck," and I'm like, "How are you just finding this out?"
I know.
Like, why are they not?
Is that just because they really want them well rounded? So it's a case of they don't want you prep.
They're trying to test everything in fitness. So like you talk about like fitness, it's not just like endurance, like power, strength, like it's coordination, it's literally everything. And I suppose, see the best of the best, they find a way, because like a lot of the time it's like sometimes they throw in things you've never done before. Like the year I was there in 2022, I mean it sounds pathetic, but they were doing, like the parallel bars that gymnasts use. So basically you had to, they'd taped on either end, and so you had to do like cleans, right, squat cleans, and then run up the comp floor, and there was these parallel bars, and you'd to basically like shuffle your way along. But they had no parallel bars, and
you've never done. You've just never.
You're out, and you're like, okay, but you're all in the same boat. So it's the people that can adapt the quickest tend to have the most success. But literally, we're all like that. We have no idea. Like, and I suppose
there's quite an element of fun to that. Because you're just like, everybody's the same. You're like, nobody's done it.
Yep. And
rather than being like, these bastards have been doing this for 6 months. And
there's been loads of things like that in CrossFit. Like they just throw something in that is totally like nobody's ever used it before. Yeah. Like again in 2022, like, the thing about me is like my coach would say, give me a barbell. Like I'm quite good at barbell cycling and stuff like that, and moderate weight, and just give me a barbell and I'm good. Throw an odd object at me and I'm fucked. I was just so like, I'm not really good with odd objects. And I'm also terrible at swimming. Like, so I had to learn how to swim going to the games in 2018 and I'm still terrible.
So I'm terrible and all. I'd be the one doggy paddling.
Yeah, it's so bad. And the first couple of years I went, it was, in fact, I've swum 4 times at games. The first 3 years was in a lake, and it's just horrific. And obviously there was a terrible tragedy a couple of years ago, so I'm not sure if that will ever happen again. But as someone who's not a confident swimmer, see like swimming 300 metres away from shore.
Yeah, with folks scrambling around you. Like,
honestly, it's just, it's literally for me, those events were just survival. Just like,
I always thought that looked so scary.
How would they? That is how that happens.
Well, they've got kayak. I mean, it's probably obviously from the tragic event. There didn't seem to be people too near, but these people tend to be. I think the man that actually drowned was a really competent swimmer as well. Yes. But I think because we were older, the masters, they had freaking hundreds of kayakers and paddle boarders, all these old folks. And I mean, I was that bad. And actually, one of the years Simon had said to me, I'd really worked hard on a swimming, so he's like, just go and try and front crawl it all. Don't care where you come in this event, just go, get out there. And so, but see, we're talking about confidence. Like the first year I was like, right, I'm at the back because it's too busy. Yeah. And then like, I'm terrible at swimming, immediately breaststroking. Whereas in 2021, he was like that, get out at the front. He's like, you're shite, but you'll make it hard for everybody to get past. They only get past you. So he's like, so then I was like, so it was just a different mindset. But again, I think and he's like, just try and front crawl. I front crawled a little bit, but see, it's in a lake's filthy, and I was like trying to breathe, and the water was coming in my mouth, and I was like, no, end up just breaststroking. But they're like, let's like, ma'am, are you all right?
Yeah, no, that'd be look like I'm running into the Actually, the one doggy paddling at the back, I'd be like, oh God, I'd be going between, please don't drown and please don't get
even things like, I'm like what's trying to get around a boy at the top.
Running a swim.
How do I get I was like, so bad at it. But the year that I ended up winning it, the swim was in a pool. So for me, and then basically the way the workout went, so there was ski ergs, you know, the concept of ski ergs. So basically what you had to do is you had 2-minute intervals, and what you had to do, you had to swim, it was 50 yards. So it's like less than 50 metres.
Right, okay.
And in the remaining time, you had to hit a calorie target in the ski erg. So the calorie target went up. So like the first round you had to swim out, but it was like bread. So it's 25 yards out and 25 yards back. Right. So for me, I'm like, result, like I can dive. Obviously gymnastic, I'll dive in. That's going to get me across. I'll get a good breath at the other side.
And you're tallish.
And
just quite tallish.
So I'm pretty good on the ski erg. So I think it started with 8 cows, and that was fine. So then it was like 3, 2, 1. And so everybody that hit the 8 cows went again. So it was a knockout.
Right.
So I can't even remember. I think we got to 14 or 16 calories. And I was like, I think it was 16. I had to work so hard.
That's a lot.
Because my swimming was already getting slower because I was a bit fatigued. So like, I think I had like 50 seconds to get 16 calories. So I was working so hard. But then they're like, 3, 2, 1. And I just got it. So my judge is like, swim. And I noticed only 3 other women jumped in the pool. So I was like, fucking result. I've came 4th in a swimming event. But I was honestly done. And then my judge is like, in CrossFit, you can't like sandbag. You've always got to be shown as though you're making an attempt.
Oh, right. Okay.
So my judge is like, you gotta get in the water. I was like, hen, I will freaking drown if I jump in this water. And then the head judge come over and he's like, because I was just like that. I'm 4th. So then like, you gotta get in. So I literally like jumped in and was like, so yeah, I have actually came 4th in a swimming event, guys.
That's so good. What is that? Will you just say that's your hardest event? Like, if I had to say to you, what's your hardest?
Yeah, somebody asked that question. Actually,
someone asked this question.
What would be my hardest?
Should we pull up some questions?
We will pull up some questions.
I think an open water swim would be hard for me.
That would be your hardest. What about lift wise? Is there any big workouts where you've went, oh, that was just horrific? Like, that was the work. I think they would all laugh.
But there's a lot.
I laugh in the films, right? They film a horrific workout. I think it was like they ran up a hill and came all the way down, and then Dave sent them back up there. It was something like that. Yeah. And at the end of it, they're all going, that was great. Oh, how much fun was that? And I was like, I'd have been fucking
I know, but you could say that about anything. Like, when you leave, you're saying to your clients, like, when you leave a training session, you'll love it. And then they're probably like, shut the fuck up, man. Like,
there's a big difference between that and fucking running. I'd be like, I'm not doing that ever again.
Do you know what? I think every single person, if they do something that is hard, or they do something that they didn't think they would be capable of doing, like, see, achieving something that you perceive as a success, it just leaves you with such a brilliant feeling.
We've never hit that standard.
Well, it's a good point to make, because I think that people think you're already in fitness, so it's all right for you, right? Not it's all right for you, but like, fitness is easier for you, or maybe not for you, so if I'm just saying for us in general. But I do still find that I just started running, guys. Don't know if you follow me on Instagram. And I actually really like it because it's hard and it's new. And I tried it years ago and I was fucking terrible at it. I think I ran halfway around Strathaven, like, couldn't breathe, and I was like, I can't do this. So then I thought, when I went back in it, I was like, oh, why am I doing this? I'm terrible at it. And then, like, I kind of was like, oh, it's hard, but it's a different hard to lifting. And I was like, even for me, who's somebody who's already in the fitness space, that's like quite scary for me to go out and start running, because you feel like a fucking bit of tit.
Especially and, like, it's not something you've done. But what you'll be loving about it as well is that you're doing it, that you're finishing it, and then you keep doing it, and then running's the best thing for people to do, because it's the easiest thing to notice you get better at. And if you go out and run, you're going to get better every single time. And you might never end up like bloody Keely Hodgkinson, but you are like, you see that improvement, and that's what people like. That's the addictive part, I think.
Definitely.
And that's, I think, for me, like, CrossFit's not an elite sport. I think everybody feels that. People lift weight they didn't think they were capable of, or you'll maybe get women that are kicking up to a handstand against the wall and they've not done that since they were 8 and they didn't think they'd be able to. So it's, people achieve. You do things that you thought that was beyond what you were capable of, and then you end up over time, gradually you achieve it, and that just is, that feeling's great, addictive. And I think for me at my age, it's even more special, because you do hit an age where you're like, you're past your prime, like, you're not like, you don't expect to be learning new skills or doing new things. I'm still like meeting new people, like improving my lifts, like traveling through CrossFit. Just like, it's
I love brilliant. That. I love hearing that, and I hope a lot of people take that on board, because one thing we'll probably hear from a lot of people is, I'm too old to do that now, and you're like, shut up. Like, age now especially, like, I think women are just getting better and better as we get older now, because who was it I was speaking to, and I said, do you remember back in the day, like, I'm turning 40, you're turning 50. That when you're in your 20s is like, oh, old. You're old.
Properly old,
You're like Blue Rinse Brigade. And it's like, when comes that point where you just give into that? Whereas nowadays, I think women look, I mean, you're turning 50. See if I look like that when I'm turning 50. I'll be fucking delighted.
And you did make a good point earlier on, because when you were speaking earlier on, you said about, like, you were like, oh, I'm starting to feel a lot tight. I need to do more stretching. I'm starting to feel a lot tighter. And then most women would have said right away, it's just because I'm getting a bit older. 100%. It's always the first thing women say, is like, just because I'm getting a bit older. And I'm like, but you said it last. You said like, oh, because I'm lifting heavier, or because I'm obviously going to be tighter because of that. And then you're like, oh, because I'm also getting a bit older.
I think I definitely try to avoid using age as an excuse.
Yes.
And I think it's easy, and it's hard because I am at probably the perimenopause age and all that. And you're like, we're talking about social media. I'm totally bombarded. My algorithm's going wild for collagen and creatine and all the peptides and all this stuff. And I'm not saying like they don't work. And I think for whatever, I firmly believe everybody just needs to do what's right for them. Like I have tried supplements. Like people always ask me what supplements I use. So I made a conscious decision at the start of this year. I was going to take collagen, creatine and glucosamine for joint health, and I was going to take them religiously. I've was driving my husband mad because they're on display in the kitchen because I need them on display or else I'll forget to take them. And I've been taking them for 3 months. I have not noticed a difference at all. I still have brain fog. I'm not recovering any better. I'm still as sore as I would normally be. I always sleep well. Like I'm not stronger taking creatine. I'm definitely not any stronger. And then I also have a wee issue with my kidneys. I'm not terribly sure how that's came about. I think it's through years of being chronically not hydrated properly. But my kidney function's not great. So like I do see a kidney doctor. So then I stopped taking the creatine because I'm like, I'm not noticing any difference. And then I know it's the most researched drug, supplement rather. And I get that, right? But I'm like that. If it doesn't work for me, it does not work for me. You do get
non-responders.
Yeah, absolutely. What I do wonder is, without wanting to blow smoke up my own arse, like I've got a really good diet. I probably get enough creatine through my diet.
Oh, absolutely.
And I always sleep 8.5 hours a night. Like I'm lucky that I get a good sleep. Like my kids have always been relatively good sleepers. So I'm always really well rested sleep-wise. My diet's very good most of the time. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
most of the time. So then that's probably why I'm not noticing a huge difference because I probably don't need to supplement.
But it's such 100%. An important point to make is like people will ask you that, like what supplements you take because you're the fittest woman in the world, blah, blah. Like you what do you take? And it's like, well, just eat really well and like go to bed. And like,
I mean, I don't even take protein shakes because I get all my protein through real food.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the only thing I did have to take was when in 2022 and I was training a lot more, I just like protein. Let's put it that way. Like I do like carbs as well, but most of the food I like is protein. So I probably wasn't eating enough carbs for like my energy expenditure at that time. So the only thing I did have to take for a period of time was maltodextrin. It's just pure carbohydrates. And that was just to kind of
just to get carbs
in. So I would always have to take a maltodextrin drink at the end of before I went to my bed because sometimes I'd wake up in the middle of the night because I was starving. Which I think kind of leads on as well because people always, you talk about me having a 6-pack and all that. Like I've not been in a bulk and a cut ever in my life. And there's lots of other things out there about the transformations and stuff. And I know you do a bit of that yourself, but you've always been quite real about the actual time it takes for a real transformation.
12 weeks.
12 weeks.
12-week peak.
But I think that see if you build really good habits and you enjoy what you're doing, I do think bulking and cutting is like a modern day eating disorder. I think like for young girls now, like having that much focus on like eating excessive calories because you're on a bulk phase and then going in a calorie deficit to strip it all away. It's like I probably eat anywhere between 2,500 and 3,000 calories every day. Whether I'm training or not training, whether, do you know what I mean? Just that. But my metabolism has never been fucked around with. Like do you know what I mean? And I think that sometimes you can get into this kind of cycle where
that is I like the fact you said that. This is tied in really well with stuff we say in this podcast because we always bang on in this podcast about maintenance and about how important it is. Like, and everybody's always like, women are always pendulum swinging. They're always like up or they're down, they're up or they're down. And nobody can sit in the middle. Like people struggle so hard to just like, and they're like, maintenance is I don't like maintenance is boring. It's this, it's that. And I'm like, you're going to live there forever. Why can 100%. You not just get used to living here forever? And just like not excessively eating and not excessively under eating and just like living in a nice healthy happy body day to day.
I think that's a message I like to try and push, and it's easy to say that I am fairly lean and I do carry quite a lot of lean muscle mass and I'm really happy with how I look, so it's easy to sit here and say like eat what you like and train hard. Like it's not like that for everyone. I get that this is like a long time. I've been living this lifestyle and it does take a long time.
But you do the work. This is what we say to people, like you see if you lock on like that 80% of the time like you do, you live a life where 90% of your life you train hard, you eat really well, you sleep, rest, recover, all that kind of thing. And then like you said, if you want to go out and have drinks or dinner or what, you have it and it doesn't matter. And it's like, everyone could do that.
Yeah,
and stay in that nice space.
Well,
100%.
And
That's what I talk about.
I talk about it a lot as well, because like we do a wee bit of kind of PT and we do some stuff together, and like it doesn't annoy us because a lot of time everyone's like, but you're genetic freaks. And I'm like, yeah, like I'm not disputing the fact that like literally our bodies are identical, but we don't train the same.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
But she trained really hard. She does a lot of more CrossFit now, and she probably lifts heavier now, but she loves all the movement stuff, and she loves the kind of more endurance based stuff. She loves nothing more like a 40-minute like endurance based workout. It's not really my gig. I'm like 15 minutes is plenty for me. But it's not just your genetics.
Of course
like,
it's not.
And I think the other thing that kind of pisses us off a wee bit is who decided that super lean was the best looking version than you. I say this as an older woman. This is my opinion. I'm not saying this is gospel. I think that as women get older, we can do with having a wee bit of fluff on. I think the leaner you are as an older woman,
the more
ages
haggard you look.
It's not the look.
That's what we spoke about.
It's not even just your face. It's like your like all of your body.
100%.
Like so if you're like this really, I mean, everybody could be an ectomorph. Everybody's built different, right? So sorry to anybody that's just built that. But if you're trying to get as lean as you can possibly get, and you're a woman in her late 40s and above, I genuinely think that it can have an effect of making you look a bit older.
Absolutely. I have said this all the time, Nora. Yeah. Say it all the time. You look haggard the more...
Yeah, the more lean you get. But I think that's if you... But like, for me as well, it's more... I don't ever want to be in a situation... Like, I want to be in a situation where if you were like that, Ali, do you want to do High Rocks next week? Yeah, cool.
100%.
Nikki, if you go, Ali, do you want to go on holiday in 2 weeks? Yeah, cool.
Yes.
I don't want to be like, oh my God,
said this last week.
This is what we talk about all the time.
So I said last week on the podcast... Maintenance to me is living within striking distance of where you want to be at all times. So you should always be within striking distance of a physique or like some sort of fitness goal. And I know a fitness goal can't always be within striking distance. I get that, but it shouldn't be 10 years off.
Yeah.
I don't think it should be like I've got myself in such a bad position now that I'm miles off of a physique that I'd want to be in. And I also think that with your body, not weight, because weight's an arbitrary thing, but like shape, I think that you should be within striking distance. I used the exact same example of like, if my husband booked me a holiday tomorrow for 2 weeks' time, I'm not going to be in a blind panic about it.
Yeah, exactly.
To me, that's maintenance and that's the body you want to live in forever.
And also, it's a much happier place.
Of course, because you're not getting...
I'm never hungry. I am not a nice person when I'm hungry, so I could not be hungry. Like I don't know. It's there's just so much information out there, and there's... To be fair, I don't even think it is just the younger girls that are like more impressionable with it, because I know a lot of women my age that still
I've got
feel
a lot
the
of
pressure.
clients that age that are
I think a lot of people will take a lot of comfort in the fact that you've said that your physique just now has never been built off a
love that. Yeah, absolutely.
Because like people would assume, especially competing as well, that you go through big, huge bulks and then you do these big cuts and then like, but you just don't never do that.
Nah.
And I'm really
you have always been the same.
In my own skin, to be honest. I'm definitely bigger. If I look back at pre-CrossFit pictures, I'm thicker, I would say. I think that's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like I always did have like a
you've got a lot more
and stuff
muscle
like that,
mass on
I just look a bit thicker.
Yeah.
Like a fatter arse, wider waist, like I'm just a bit
exactly
thicker,
what we want.
Which you would assume you would be if you were
lifting heavier.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm lifting heavier, and like I was doing body pump beforehand. Now I'm lifting heavy 3 times a week. So, but yeah, I also think there's a difference between a transformation in fitness, because I think there is evidence that, I mean, God, you could find anything you want to find on the internet though, but there's evidence now that like they say, now they used to say like weights were the best way. So obviously like, yes, for bone health and for muscle definition and longevity and all the rest of it. And then your cardio could be walking on a treadmill or stepper and stuff like that. They're now saying that actually for, well, no shit Sherlock, but for heart health, like an improved VO2 max is probably what you want. So you're not going to get that walking on a treadmill for 30 minutes. You know what I mean? So I think that's, again, I'm banging the CrossFit drum, but that is what I love about it, because it checks all the boxes. It checks all the boxes.
Oh, aye, definitely.
And it's fun. Because I think that's the other thing is, I don't see the point in people being miserable. You've got to enjoy what you're doing. If you're wanting to do this for 30 years, you have to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's definitely like the whole endorphin dopamine hit thing where it does make you feel better.
I think
We'll dive into some questions.
We'll dive into some questions, but I think we'll probably, if you want to just be like a third person on the podcast, probably fit in quite well. This is now a three-man podcast, by the way.
Can I give up my day job?
Every second Thursday, you'll need to be here if that's all right. We'll change it to 2 o'clock for you. It's fine.
That's fine.
Right, let's do a wee bit of questions because we're aware that you're under a time crunch.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with the first one. So this was a client who asked us, so we're aware you are not 50 yet, okay? But she said, which is interesting, as this first statement was, women in their 50s will experience loss in strength and muscle mass, which I would disagree with, but there we go. Is that really factually?
I mean, I guess there's probably some element of science, but I mean, they do say that women from like 35 onwards, like you lose a percentage.
It's like that whole age-related sarcopenia thing. It doesn't mean it's going to happen, especially when you're training. I guess
there's lots of things you can do to keep it at bay.
So she said, how much do you think we can fight this? Can training harder and eat smarter push back against biology?
100%. I think so, yeah. I think... I follow somebody, she's an American, is it Dr. Stacey Sims? I don't know if you've heard of her. She's an older lady as well, and she's very big on like women lifting weights and all the rest of it, but she thinks that, she's far much more of an academic, and she's got a PhD in all sorts of things, but she thinks, like, for example, that like sprint intervals and stuff like that, that's the kind of training women should be doing.
Right.
She explains the science behind it, which is completely over my head. But I definitely think the way that you train as you age and how the food that you eat can definitely can keep it at bay a little bit. Yeah,
I would agree.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would definitely agree. Can Ali give any advice on how to get started with CrossFit as a beginner? As I'm almost 35 years old. Well, Ali started at 38, so yeah.
You're already 3 years ahead of him.
Yeah,
exactly.
You just need to, like, most CrossFit gyms have a good coaching team. I would say, like, as I say, I actually do coach CrossFit as well at a different gym, but certainly the gym that I go to have got a great team of coaches, and you just go, like I said, it's infinitely scalable. Like you get, like, my mum could come to a class tomorrow.
I love that.
But people watch the docos and Netflix and like, holy shit, it's for like hardcore fitness people, and it's not like that. And everybody's got their own reason for doing it as well. Yes, I like to compete, but a lot of my friends don't. Yeah. Like, it's a great community. I think these kind of smaller gyms, the kind of functional fitness spaces, they have kind of cottoned on. Like, remember CrossFit used to be called a cult?
Yeah, that's
everybody used to say, CrossFit was like a cult. There was always the jokes like, oh, how do you know somebody does CrossFit? Because they tell you within 2 minutes. I mean, same as like the vegan. To be fair, there's an element of truth.
I was going to say, I'm laughing.
But I do think that whether it's a conscious decision or not, that was the case. But there was I wouldn't call it as a community, but like you tend to see the same people in the same classes, and it was smaller group training, so it was like there was only like maybe my old gym, it was like 12 in a class type thing. So you did build up a lot. Like a lot of my really good friends are from CrossFit, so that I've met in the last 13 years. But I think a lot of the functional fitness gyms now have cottoned on to that. So they've got all these community days, and they really try and nurture that kind of like friendships within the gym. So they tend to be quite a welcoming place. Yeah. And you just have, I think most gyms, like my gym, would do like a PT, 2 PT sessions, like a fundamentals we call it. And they would go through squatting and pressing and hinging basically. And then a little, like how you would scale back a pull up and stuff like that. So you'd get these 2 1-to-1s. Yep. And then it's like, fill your boots. Yeah. And just go for it. My advice would be the thing about CrossFit is you are sore. Like I'm pretty much sore every day of life, to be honest. And I've been doing it a long time. So I know anybody that does it, you do. Depends what workout you go to, you fall into, but so you probably initially maybe 3 classes a week for like the first kind of month or 2, and then you can think about upping it, because probably any more than 3 and I'm
glad you just said that you're sore every day life, because see when you get clients that are like, I'm just like sore, or like, you know, you get people to, this is probably a double-edged sword, but on check-in forms I get people to mark recovery, and then I'm like, I should just take that away, man, because they're just like at 5, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm sore every day. Like I walk about sore every day. Same. And if you're not, like, see, when it blows our mind if our clients come in and I'm like, feel like yesterday, I'm like, you sore? And they're like, no. And I'm like, what? Like, how are you not sore? Like, just some sort of like miraculous recovery.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
So I'm glad you said you're sore all the time. Okay, how has your approach to training evolved across different stages of your life? And she said, I didn't know how to put this last bit because I don't want to just assume she's a menopausal woman. But for example, in your 20s or 30s or during parenthood or post-parenthood, has like your approach to training evolved across any of those parts of your life?
I think it has, like most women, if you have when you've got young kids, it's harder and stuff like that. I think that I have always been quite fortunate in that because I used to teach classes, it was always a bit of a side hustle, but I taught classes. So even when my kids were wee, I was still doing like 6-7 classes a week because it was my job. Yeah. So my husband used to work away a lot, but my mum lived basically 2 doors down, if you like. So she would watch the kids for me. When I was going out to teach classes. And I think that probably if it wasn't me teaching the classes, there would definitely have been nights where she's like, do you mind leaving it tonight? I can't really be bothered. Whereas because I had to be there. So I was fortunate in that respect. Yeah. And like as your kids get older, you are kind of meeting yourself coming backwards because they become less dependent on you, but they're into all their clubs. So you're constantly chasing your tail. But again, I just always had a really strong, like a lot of help from family. Derek's mum, she's no longer with us, but she was a great help to me. She was always there. And so I was fortunate, but I also only worked part-time. So when my kids went to school, I only worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and it was only a Tuesday morning. So I used to train on a Tuesday afternoon while the kids were at school and a Thursday and Friday while the kids were at school. So I was lucky in a lot of ways. It's harder, I would say, for women who are full-time and to make it work. And probably they need more sacrifices in the sense that they maybe need to train 5:30 in the morning when they really don't want to and stuff like that. Whereas I was quite lucky like that.
Do you think you would have got where you got to in CrossFit had you have had like a 9 to 5? Like No, we don't. Even at my age. Yeah.
I mean, the younger ones now are training like full-time athletes. I don't think the masters do. Like, I don't train like a full-time athlete. Even when I was in my prime, if like as a master in 2022, I wasn't training like a full-time. You can at this age.
Like the recovery,
but just the recovery as well. Your body can't take the volume that a lot of the younger ones are doing. But I certainly think that if I had a 9 to 5 job, no. I don't think I would have been able to. I think I was fortunate in that respect. And with regards to like getting older and stuff like that, I mean, I don't even think I am perimenopausal, but I'm one of the menopausal, but I'm one of these people that always looks for the simpler explanation. Like before I start blaming hormones, I'm going to blame the fact, like if I'm a crabbit bitch, I'll be like, it's maybe because I only got 6 hours sleep last night. My kids are driving me mad. Doesn't necessarily have to be by lacking estrogen.
I love that though. See the fact that you're not jumping there. Like there's nothing worse than there's always got to be a reason. It's like sometimes you're just in that mood. It's not bigger than what it has to be.
I also always doubt, sometimes to my detriment, like I alluded to earlier, I do have this little kidney issue going on. And I think it's potentially could be problematic. But so at the moment, like I don't fit any, like for having stage 2 kidney disease, basically, like my numbers suggest I could be hitting there, but I don't have any of the other indicators. Like normally it's people that have diabetes, don't exercise, have a poor diet, are lacking in energy, like all this stuff. Like none of that applies to me. So then I'm a bit like, maybe this is just the way I'm built. Do you know what I mean? You just don't actually know.
Something underlying that's maybe now just coming out.
And the doctors don't seem to be overly concerned, albeit I see them every kind of 4 to 6 months. But my mum's like, you need to get to the bottom of this. Get a biopsy in your kidneys. But I just always, I think I probably play things down a lot. And I think that's in everything. And I think that's true of like when we talk about, I don't ever find an excuse in something. Like I don't use my age as an excuse. I just always try and find the simplest explanation and think it's probably that. And then if it continues, then obviously I'm not adverse to like
digging deeper for something.
You're not. If it was sinister, you would. Okay, I've got a kind of fun one, which is basically someone says, I'm dying to know if she's met Matt, Fraser and Tia in real life.
So
was that me that asked that question?
Was it you? No. I haven't met, I don't think I've met, did I meet Matt Fraser? Did he? No, I don't think I did.
Someone told me he's really short, real life.
Yes, tiny. I have met him actually. He's tiny.
Is he really wee?
And I met Tia and actually...
Oh no, you're going to burst the bubble here. Was she a bitch?
Burst the bubble, I've heard this. No, I've heard this.
Didn't love her. Some of them are really nice. Some of them are lovely. at least I get they're like she's there to win it. She's like in her like she's in her zone and stuff like that. But she wasn't particularly friendly, let's just say. But why would she be? But some of them are super friendly.
So did you watch the last documentary? Was it you ever filmed this?
I've not seen the last
one. And I said she was a proper bitch in the documentary.
Was she?
Oh my God.
She was throwing pure stops and all that?
Aye, she was coming off like, is it the pegboard?
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And she was proper
She's moaning about some of them were
but she was mentioning that Dave Castro and saying to him like, I'm not having this, like all that kind of thing. And I'd have been like,
do you know who's lovely? Is Justin Medeiros. Do you know him? No. The guy with the mullet. So he won it in, I can't remember, 21 or 22.
He looks like a wee
Do you know what I love about him? So he came onto the floor. He was 21 at the time. He just won the CrossFit Games, like the actual CrossFit Games.
That's insane.
And all the masters and the adaptive athletes were on the floor. And he came round every one of us and fist bumped her. He's like, you guys are the true like heroes of this sport and all this.
Oh,
that's nice.
His mummy done
and
well.
also at the party that night, he got absolutely mad with it. And he had a great
was
time.
that true 21
Whereas
was there
some
a party?
CrossFit people are a
Did
wee
you
bit
have
boring.
an
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine he'd be like, "Aye, guys,
But I
let's
had a
go."
miss, like-
I was about to say, I couldn't imagine them being like, I can't imagine Matt and Tia knocking back the shots.
Nah, but I can imagine a lot of them just being like, "Guys, I'm going home to ice bath and fucking."
Yeah, there is a lot of that. Sometimes for people who do CrossFit take themselves a bit. I mean, these guys are the best of the best, I suppose. But at the end of the games, Pat Vellner likes a good drink, I would say. These are the ones. I mean, I was obviously
looks like a wee soul.
Justin Medeiros had a good time, but
that's cool.
He's probably my favourite CrossFitter.
Oh, that's so
Nice.
cool.
I'm back up to the Tia thing, but it's alright.
I'm not actually surprised with it after that, what I just seen in that documentary.
I mean, it takes that to be literally
Yeah, of course,
the best
I know.
in the
Like,
world.
I wouldn't care about being known as a bitch. I'd be like, I will be a bitch. Like, I'm the best.
Aye.
Right, I need to ask a question. So my client Lisa was like weirdly over the moon, not weirdly over the moon about this podcast, that sounds terrible, but like she was really excited about it. So I feel bad if I don't ask any of her questions. She asked about 5. I'll try and I know you've only got like 4 minutes, so I'll ask one. Probably the main one would be like, how do you manage to stay in your lane mentally and not compare yourself to other folk? Like, how do you deal with the mental side and the focus and determination and training? Like, specifically, she says in an off season, but what is an off season in CrossFit?
I mean, the top bananas definitely have off seasons, I would say. It's hard now though, because there's so many opportunities to compete for the top people with like pretty good prize money. So I guess like a lot of them, this is their foot list. This is how they're making living through sponsorships. Like at my age, not so much. So I don't necessarily have an off season. I'd maybe take 2 or 3 weeks after the games off. I just enjoy training as well. Like I drop my intensity and stuff like that. Staying in your own lane's a good one. I think I'm actually like I'm a very competitive person, but I'm not like, I wouldn't say I was. I get some people that are quite aggressively competitive and loud about it. I would say like it's in there, but it's like I don't really show it. So I am quite competitive. So I do enjoy a wee race with the young ones in the gym and stuff like that. And
I would love to see that.
Maybe I don't know I'm racing them, but I
love that.
And like I train with my son actually. He's really into CrossFit now, and I love like just like
how cool that would
it's
be.
really
Your
cool.
mom.
It's
Imagine
really
that
cool.
as like that's my mom.
And it's so cool because he's into it. So like he was like,
his pals
I think I
must
said
have a
this in the
field day.
podcast I was on last week. That was. Yes, there was some sacrifices made, like when I was training a lot and stuff like that, but I don't really feel that my kids missed out on anything.
Yeah.
And then see, like, Ben was 18 when I won the games, and he thought I was the coolest person alive.
No wonder.
And then, do you know what I mean? Like, how many mums can say that their 18-year-old?
By the way,
they're
that
cool?
must be the best feeling in the world, knowing your kid
and then like we train together and stuff like that, so it is cool. But I love training with him and like trying to beat him and stuff.
I love that.
So I'm like quite a competitive person, and I think, but I'm also a quietly confident person too. I know what my strengths are, I know what my weaknesses are. And I know where I'm going to do well. I just manage my expectations and stuff like that. Like if there's an event that I know that I can crush, I'm like, I'm going to fucking crush this. To myself, not to anyone else. I'm saying this. Whereas if there's an event where I know, oh my God, this is going to be a disaster for me, I will quite often, though people think I'm a negative person, but I don't know whether it's a coping strategy. Like so I'll like play it down, like, oh, I'm going to be terrible at this. I'll say it out loud, and now they say, oh, you should never say that. Yeah. Like it's all this like positive mindset and all that. And I have had people in the past say to me, like, you've got a really negative mindset. Like, girl, you've got like, you really lack self-belief. And I'm like, oh, trust me, I don't.
That's just saying this, like, that's just my mind.
I'm going to be terrible, but I'm saying to myself, you're going to be fucking brilliant here, by the way.
I like that. Strategic, one might say.
I think staying in your lane's hard as well in CrossFit. in a live competition, like my coach would say I'm terrible at it, because the amount of times, like when I was at the games, I remember one time in particular, it was a workout and it started with 15 bar muscle ups, which I'm not great at, but I'm not terrible. But I was in the lead, so the cameras were on me for the live stream, and I was in between an American gymnast and Annie Sakamoto, who is like a total legend in the CrossFit space. Both are who are brilliant at gymnastics. Right. So Simon had said to me, 3 sets in the bar muscle ups. Like, this workout is not about the first 15. Like, it's a long workout. Don't kill yourself. Do a 6, a 5 and a 4. I'm like, okay, because he wasn't with me. I was on, okay, 6, 5, 4, right? And then that gave me strategy for the rest of the workout. And do that way I was standing, and it's like, stand by, and the camera's on me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about to fuck this. It's go time. I'm like, stay in your own lane, 6, 5, 4. Nope, she goes, she does 14, and then can't get, then I stood for a minute and a half, couldn't get the last one out. And you know that way, I'm like, he's going to be raging at me. Yeah. So it is hard to stay in your own lane when you kind of do get sapped into it. And I think as much as that's hard, sometimes that's gone in my favour, because like my coach always said, I'm quite good at hanging on. So I mean, I'm getting less good the older I get, I suppose. So every day notoriously goes out hot. Like every day does. Like it's just adrenaline. It's, and I'm like, so I can go out hot with the rest of them. And I'm probably quite good at hanging on. So like once I start redlining, I can hang on a little bit.
That's just mental.
For women my own age, like I have this caveat now, because I am acutely aware that CrossFit's quite, like, it's a big thing now in Scotland, and we have got so many really good athletes now, and a lot of really good female athletes. So, and obviously I've had a lot of success for my age, and I'm good for my age. I know I'm really good for my age, but it's getting harder and harder to keep up with the young ones.
Yeah, of course.
Because they're all training like full-time athletes. So I'm like, 100%. At the moment, all I'm doing is classes.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing at the moment, just because it's cold. CrossFit gyms are cold in the winter. I've got a lot on at the moment, just like different things going out and stuff, with me having a big birthday this year. I really enjoy the classes. You go to a class, your coach talks to the workout, warms you up, you give it your best for whatever you're doing, and you're up the road in an hour. And I see my friends. So at the moment I'm just going to classes. So it is getting harder, but I just hustling to the end. I think I will be like that 70-year-old, still try to do like bar muscle ups and stuff like that.
I love that though. I love that.
That's my goal, to be fair. That is my goal.
That's a fucking good goal to have.
Either that, or I'll be like, Sitting
at the side like, come on guys.
I think this podcast, for anyone out there that is getting older and doubts what they can and cannot do, needs to listen to this, because you are just an inspiration that way. Like, you're so well-rounded. You're so positive as well. I don't know why everybody was saying you've got a very negative mindset, but you can tell, even when you speak about it, you can tell you're just, it's a confidence in you, which is nice. Like, you're very content, which is nice to hear, and like, you love your life, and it's nice. Everyone can do this. Well, maybe not this, but everyone can.
Well, we wanted to get you on purely because you're a fucking cool person, and like, you won the CrossFit Games, which is fucking cool, and obviously to get your perspective on stuff. And I would have loved to actually want to get you on again, because I'd want to get your perspective on loads of other stuff we talk about. Yeah, but definitely. I feel like I'm more glad that we got you on from the stuff that you said, because everyone you've said is tied in really well with a lot of the stuff that we talk about on here. Which is nice to hear from somebody who I think people would have assumed potentially you coming on. Well, I would have assumed you coming on this podcast, you might have had slightly different opinions to some of that stuff. And I'm quite glad to hear like the way, like that whole like not bulking and cutting and that, all those kind of things that you're saying. And just a lot of the stuff you said there, I'm like, I'm glad this came from you and not from us.
We actually know what we're talking about.
We've never spoken beforehand. So it's not like we've not came on with this like preemptive idea of like, say what we say. So I'm glad that it's kind of like set. It's like a nice opinions.
We're all on the same wavelength, which is really good.
Right, I'm aware that you are under a time crunch. It's probably ran over. So if your son is waiting at the school gates, it's not my fault.
Well, that's
it's your fault for talking over.
I've also got a special needs son, so I can't actually be late.
Exactly. So
you go.
we will. Thank you very much for watching,
Ali,
guys.
Thank you
for coming on. I appreciate it. Give us all your opinions in the comments below, and we'll definitely get on for another one if you want to come back on.
I'd love to.
Cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, you need to put up the horns.
Oh yeah.
Do the horns. I'm definitely too old for the horns.
It's just a thing, you have to do it. Sorry, that's my thing.